Welcome to Dale Softball Stadium here in Raleigh, North Carolina. A first matchup of its kind as LSU comes to NC State, putting a bow on non-conference play as the top 15 Tigers take on the NC State Wolfpack. Winners of 7 straight, 2 dynamic offenses meeting this weekend in Raleigh. Thank you for joining us. Evan Budrovich with Brantley Hatridge for you this weekend. And Brantley, this pitching staff for LSU just shut down Missouri over the weekend with a 2-game win on Sunday. What makes this LSU staff so special?
Well, I think it's that two-headed monster of Shelby Sinceri, who we'll see tonight, and Ali Kilponen, who I imagine we'll see at some point. But those two in the circle, you see Sinceri right here, just fantastic pitchers hitting their spots, quality arms for LSU.
Sinceri got it started, and then Kilponen on Sunday. How about this? A combined 15 strikeouts in the final 2 games of that weekend.
Well, when LSU needed a spark, Ali Kilponen provided it in getting those huge wins for LSU, able to win that series.
They're taking on an NC State offense that leads the ACC in all the power numbers, home runs, on base, slugging. How does this home run mentality translate for NC State?
Well, it's a confidence thing for NC State. You see all their players have a home run that you see in this lineup. Just quality bats, and it's no more important than Angie Rizzi at the top of that lineup.
The ACC Player of the Week. Look at this pimp job. 2 home runs against Pittsburgh. How does she spark the offense for the Wolfpack?
I think the spark is the fact that Jennifer Patrick Swift moved Rizzi from 3 to 1. She just provides such a spark at the top of that lineup.
That's the challenge for NC State. Abby Trahan looking to slow down this LSU offense that is 15th in the country. And Trahan coming off a great effort against Pitt with double-figure strikeouts.
And Trahan is, like you said, those 13 strikeouts, huge for a pitcher coming into this weekend. It gives her a level of confidence to know that she can compete with anybody in the country. And she's going to need to have her A game tonight because LSU, a potent offense just like NC State, she's going to need to hit her spots because if she finds herself in the middle of the plate, she could be in trouble.
This LSU offense, so electric in terms of speed. They've only been caught on the bases once all year with Aaliyah Andrews, such a huge threat at the top. And Coach Beth Torina loves the power threat of Georgia Clark and Raylene Gutierrez in the middle of this lineup.
Clark and Gutierrez having a lot of multiple RBI opportunities with a bat like Aaliyah Andrews and Sierra Briggs at the top. Just multiple times LSU finds themselves with runners aboard, and those bats of Clark and Gutierrez really providing some damage.
This LSU offense exploded against Missouri to win 2 of 3. The Tigers have now won 4 of their last 5 conference series, so heating up at the right time. As Abby Trahan gets us started with a foul ball off the bat of Aaliyah Andrews.
And you could say this about both pitchers, but for Abby Trahan, she really needs to find a way to get ahead in the at-bat. Strike one is so important because she's able to expand the zone, throw different pitches, and try to find ourselves in 0-2, 1-2 counts instead of behind.
First time LSU has come to town here in Raleigh. These teams met 6 years ago now back at LSU. The Tigers won both matchups. And Trahan, who's pitched in regionals in 2 years, back at her previous program is St. Francis, looking to take down a regional-type team every year as Andrews smacks that one foul.
And you have to think, Evan, it's got to be a good feeling for Trahan to be able to throw against, the LSU Tigers, the hometown team of her home state of Louisiana. So probably a little bit extra juices flowing for Trahan right now. Just try to corral them.
Trahan, who had the neat story of playing travel ball with Taryn Antoine, one of the outfielders from Alexandria, Louisiana for LSU. So that connection is why these head coaches, Jennifer Patrick Swift and Beth Torina, wanted to reunite this series here this weekend.
Well, I like what Jennifer Patrick Swift said with Trahan is trying to get a team from her home state to play, whether they'll go to LSU or LSU came here. She's just real excited to give Trahan this opportunity to try to pitch against a team from her home state.
Aaliyah Andrews works the count even to lead off this top of the first. Fights it off with 2 strikes. Andrews is sitting on a prolific career, 233 starts. And right now, Brantley just 15 steals away from setting the LSU record set by Dee Douglas in 2001 for the all-time steals mark. What a speed weapon at the top of this order.
So fast, but so good with the bat, too. She was behind in the count and is just continuously fouling pitches off. And as you see, we're in the first inning. The first batter and the home plate umpire is having to go to the NC State dugout and get some more softballs because Andrews just keeps fouling them off.
It also helps for Beth Torina to have the top hitter in her lineup. 368 average we saw coming in for Aaliyah Andrews, fourth-year senior from Florida. Trahan tries it again on 2-2. Ball 3.
And Evan, I tell you this, regardless of the outcome of the at-bat for LSU, that was the 8th pitch. That was the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Now we're going to see number 9. She's giving her team the opportunity to see what Trahan has in her arsenal.
The payoff is called strike 3 as Donald Brown rings up Andrews.
Perfectly placed pitch right on the inside corner, and you see the smile there from Trahan, just right on the inner half of the plate. A nice frame job from Sam Sack. That's something NC State will pay attention to, that inner half of the plate, getting that big strike call early in the ball game.
That battery of Sack and Trahan combined for 13 punch-outs against Pitt as they swept the series over the Panthers. And now, Brantley, this NC State team winners of 7 straight, putting themselves in the tournament conversation, but it all starts against a top 25 program like LSU.
Well, NC State, like they said, they're going one game at a time, but you and I have the luxury of being able to look to the future for NC State. LSU this weekend. Then they finish off their season against Clemson, Florida State, and Duke. 3 teams with NCAA tournament aspirations likely going to be in it. LSU, obviously, of course. So if NC State can find themselves victorious in these series, they could find a way into the tournament.
Look at Sierra Briggs roping one down the line, and that is just foul.
Long strike, that's all it is. That's what Trahan needs to settle down. Just realize that it's a strike and get back in there and find those corners. Briggs is second on the team with 11 extra base hits, the freshman from Yorba Linda, California. One of 6 Californians from the Golden State, including yours truly here on the broadcast. As that works the count even, Trahan missing outside. Well, West Coast, East Coast this weekend.
And of course, the combining factor, Trahan from Louisiana facing her home state team here this weekend. Here's a drive out to right center. That ball is gone. Sierra Briggs starts off the first with a solo shot.
And that's what we talked about, Evan. If Abby Trahan is going to miss, she's got to miss off the plate. A pitch that was supposed to be on the corners find its way in the middle, and Sierra Briggs just deposits a bomb over that right center field wall, giving LSU the early 1-0 lead.
3rd home run of the year for Briggs, and how about this? Her first home run since the opening weekend of the season.
No better time than the present, right, Evan?
Speaking of present, here's Taylor Pleasance at the plate, the LSU shortstop. Second-year freshman, but so talented at the plate. 325 hitter. And someone that Beth Torina told us plays beyond her years, impressing her ability to be an impact player from day one.
Well, I mean, think about it. You plug her in. She's at short this year for LSU. Just a quality player and someone that just the presence around her. She's just a ball player, and that's what Taylor Pleasance is for LSU.
After surrendering the home run, Trahan pumps in strike 1. Maybe Trahan in conference play on ERA just below 5, trying to get some quality innings against a potent LSU offense. At Brantley, this speaks to the strength of the SEC. 12th in batting average in this league, 11th in doubles. But LSU can really swing it nationally overall.
They really can, and you talk about LSU being at the bottom part with the team batting average, but they just find a way to win ball games. I mean, obviously it has a lot to do with their pitching staff and those low ERAs, but the bats are there.
On 3-1, Pleasance takes outside. It's a 1-out walk. NC State defensively trying to slow down this LSU potent attack. Of course, with excellent outfield of Rizzi, Russ, and Forbes. So much speed out there. And Randy Farraker getting the start at short with April Visser a rotating position at second. They're trying to find the right fit for NC State.
Yeah, and April Visser having a little bit more confidence there in the plate. NC State liking her over at second base. She's got great defensive prowess. The bat just hasn't been there. So that's just been a rotating position for the Wolfpack this season.
Georgia Clark takes strike one. She had a great video on social media. You got to follow the LSU softball account. She was calling her own shot pregame, some fun, entertaining moments. What does she do? Hit a home run in the series decider, and that energy has been huge for LSU this season. Here's a ground ball to short. This could be two. Visser turns the double play to escape the first for NC State. Wolfpack coming up to the plate when we return here in game one of the series. How about the defense of the Wolfpack here, getting it started at short with Farraker, and Visser getting the job done for Trahan. Sorry, Bradley. I can take those if you want, or if you want them.
Well, normally play-by-play did take it at the end, but I thought that was the end of it, so that's why I stayed.
No, you're fine. Yeah. Whatever's comfortable with you. I'll do
No.
whatever.
I don't mind it at all. If you want it to be a dual thing, that's fine. But usually, whoever I work with, they got that 10 count, and the play-by-play guy just rolls it down. So I mean, I'm good with either or.
We'll get a feel for it for sure.
Okay.
This NC State offense comes to the plate for the first time. A club that's hit 54 home runs, maybe none better than Angie Rizzi, the reigning player of the week in the ACC.
As we mentioned in the open, Evan, she is a spark plug for NC State. Moving from 3-1, she can get NC State off into a great piece. She hits the ball out of the ballpark, she gets on base, and she steals. Just a great catalyst at the top of that NC State lineup.
LSU rolls out the junior, Shelby Sinceri, in the circle. And first pitch is drilled up the middle. Good stop at short. And out at first base on the defensive play by Pleasance. So LSU flashing the leather behind Shelby Sinceri. The record, not prolific, but what she does is throw a lot of strikes and a big game pitcher for Beth Torino.
An ERA just over 2, so that's somebody that LSU knows that when they get into the circle, not many runs are going to cross the plate. Record, 6-5, but that's just a product of being in the oh-so-tough SEC conference.
Think about this LSU pitching staff. They are 10th in ERA out of 13 teams, but big strikeout numbers, 4th in the conference in Ks, and Sinceri certainly doing her part to help out Beth Torino's club. I also love the 4-point pens, all the multicolors. Very important when you're charting there, trying to scout out an offense as Sam Russ takes strike one. That pitch is called low to Sam Russ, who's now hitting .314, a red-hot bat among many. Keep this in mind, Brantley. She's the 3rd toughest batter to strike out in the entire ACC conference.
Well, and I think the reason for that is, like Andrews for LSU, she finds a way to foul off pitches. Normally she doesn't see a lot of pitches, though. She's usually on or off in 2 or 3.
This is a deep shot for Tidwell. Look at LSU flashing the leather in the first.
Pleasance and Tidwell both as short and second base for LSU, playing the positions nicely, and that's not easy. Russ and Rizzy are super fast as you see it cream off the glove of Sinceri.
I was going to say, did Sinceri get a piece of that?
Well, she did, but you know what's even better about that? Sinceri knew the moment she knocked that down, she started fist pumping because she knew that Tidwell was going to make that play.
That's a lot of trust in your defense as Sinceri pounds in strike one to Logan Morris. We mentioned the home run mentality for NC State. That begins with Morris. I wonder who's going to get the ball next defensively for LSU. May not need it. There's strike two.
No, I mean, defensively looking great so far, you know, coming up, you know, from Louisiana to North Carolina here in Raleigh. They're making it look, the Tidwell and Pleasant's making it look like their home field, showing off that range in those arms early on.
Kate Callan's behind the plate. She will not be hitting in the lineup early in this game. Keep an eye on her behind the dish. Helping out with Shelby Sinceri, trying to improve on that 6-5 record. And an ERA outside of conference, like this matchup would be, of 1.2.
Those are just ridiculous numbers when you talk about that. A 1.2 ERA outside of conference, and you know, on 211 overall, just gaudy numbers from Sinceri. And this is somebody like we talked about. You want them in the circle because you know they're going to give you the opportunity to win a ball game.
On 2-2, ground ball to short. Pleasance has been busy and getting the job done defensively for LSU. LSU leading by 1 on the solo shot by Sierra Briggs. They'll come right back to the plate when we return here in Raleigh. Pleasance is fun to watch in short.
Really? I mean, I'm sorry. Couple games, Duke and Texas early, she looked good, but just seeing it here now.
I mean, that comment that she says she's got all of that and then some.
And she showed it early. I mean, the range, the arm.
Swift, who called this weekend a huge test for her club in terms of NCAA regional play, trying to get her team back to a regional for the first time in 6 years.
Well, she mentioned early in the season and again yesterday, NC State's goal, they want to be playing after the ACC tournament ends, and it starts tonight with LSU.
Abby Trahan starts off the second with a strike to Raylene Gutierrez, right fielder for LSU. Another part of this California pipeline for the Tigers. This is her 5th straight start in the 5 spot. Coach Tureen has moved her up in the order, and the numbers have picked up since, as it's quickly 0-2.
And I think that has a lot to do with your coach trusting you to move you up in the lineup, so you want to produce for them. But just the consistent pitches that she is getting, you know, in that 5 spot, you see a lot more straight pitches.
Trahan off her mitt, and wisely scooped up by Logan Morris, going to keep it in her pocket on an infield single.
Would have been a tough play for Trahan no matter what, because the ball right back to her. It's so quickly at her. She gets her glove on it, but it just gets away, and there's no play for Morris or Trahan to make there. So an infield hit there for Gutierrez.
And Brantley, you're a former pitcher. It's even closer here in the softball circle. That's a tough reaction time for Trahan.
The pitcher will lie to you when they make that play and say, oh, yeah, I had that the whole time. But I can tell you from experience, every time the ball is hit back to me at a hard pace like that, I'm just trying to get my glove in front of it before it hits me. If I make the play great, I'm going to tell everybody I knew what I was doing, but in my mind, I know what really happened. I was trying to protect myself. That's really it.
Here's Amanda Doyle, the third baseman, ripping one out of play. This lineup leaves pitchers wide awake at night, every single batter, and Doyle, the senior, may epitomize that. 242 career starts. The senior out of Santa Clarita, California. It's also fitting, California, the Golden State, LSU with that gold tiger across the chest. Kind of fits the whole mood of this weekend.
Well, you know what I'm really paying attention to right now is the helmet that Doyle is wearing with the tiger print along the lower part, the purple at the top. Just looks so good.
Beth Torina has mentioned over her last decade at LSU, embracing the culture of the Tigers, and they have their Tiger statements, all three-word phrases that match with the T, the I, the G, you go on, but they have built this culture in a prolific program. As this ball is soared out of play off the bat of Doyle. How do you feel about Abby Trahan challenging these hitters up and in?
Well, I think she has to do that because as a batter, you want to eliminate one side of the plate. But as a pitcher, you need to be able to exploit both in and out. So even though Doyle has put some solid swings on it so far, NC State's got to continue to find a way to get underneath those Tiger hands.
2-2 now to Doyle, who comes in with 7 home runs and 27 RBI. It'll be interesting. Already a home run for Briggs in this first inning. Dale Softball Stadium can be a hitter's park early in the night as that one's flicked out of play.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. They call Dale Softball Stadium the launch pad because the ball just seems to fly out regardless of what the flags are doing. You know, right now, pretty calm, pretty quiet, but the ball just flies off the bat. You saw there with that Briggs home run.
Trahan jams again, and Doyle pops it out of play. And think about this, over 100 combined home runs between these two offenses. NC State is on line, if the season continues at this rate, to finish third all-time in single-season home runs. There's a lot of power between these two teams.
There is. And, you know, Doyle with the 7 home runs, and on the other side you got Randy Farragher, who leads the ACC in home runs.
That is just over the head of Morris, and the at-bat continues.
I tell you that this is so frustrating as a pitcher. You're making quality pitches, and yet you still can't get the out. You know, the at-bat with Andrews went the way of NC State with that strikeout on the inner half of the plate, and you see Trahan trying to do that again here with Doyle, get that inner half of the plate, but she keeps fighting off pitches.
How about 33 pitches into the ball game, and this is a slow roller to Farragher, who makes the smart play to first.
And no point of even trying to flip it over to Visser at second. Take the sure out and make sure you get at least one there. That's what you always try to do on a double play. One is fine, 2 is great. Make sure you get the 1. That's all that matters. And Farragher did a good job there at short, coming in and making that play.
So 2 gone by for the pitcher hitting for herself, Shelby Sinceri. And she can really swing it, knocking that one out of play.
There's something about a two-way player, just being able to, and being a great two-way player. I'm not just saying that about Sinceri because of her ERA, and you see the home runs there.
And 31 of those in her career.
Yeah, that's the thing. She can really do it all. She's not a pushover there at the plate by any means. She is a dangerous batter in the circle and in the plate.
Sinceri trying to cash in Raylene Gutierrez, who reached base in the 7th straight game. That was on a leadoff single. Trahan challenges with the heat and wins the battle.
Low and in. Perfect placement there by Abby Trahan to find herself ahead in the count. That's the thing. If she finds herself in the ahead in the account, she can find success either by the way the ground ball or the strikeout. She's one of those pitchers that's got to find a way to get ahead.
Farraker goes the long way to first. Nice throw with Whitaker stretching out.
How about the shortstops here in these first two innings? Pleasance and Farraker. Farraker this inning coming in on a slow roller and then another slower ball towards the third base side, showing off her arm. She says, I'm not going to be outdone.
Farraker, who's known for the home runs and the slugging percentage, putting on a show at shortstop as well for the fourth-year junior out of Glendora, California. Would have guessed it.
I never would have thought another Californian.
Here's Taylor Tidwell with 2 gone by. Popping one out of play.
The funny thing about Farraker is when she started the season, she's the first baseman. She's just an athlete, just an all-around athlete. We talked about it, leads the league in home runs, transitions from short to first, or from first to short. I know she played a majority of her time last year at short, but still to have to do it again this season, that's just an athlete right there.
Farraker, between her years at Arizona State and NC State, has played every position in the infield, and that gives this coaching staff so much confidence in their shortstop. Already 2 big outs in this inning. Trahan's got a battle here on 1-1 to Tidwell. Pounds in, strike 2. While it's been 40 pitches, Brantley, if Trahan can get out of this inning, job well done through 2.
The goal, no matter what, for a pitcher is to throw up a 0. Doesn't matter how you do it. Just make sure you throw up a 0, and that's what Trahan's 1 strike away from doing right now.
Tidwell swings and misses as Trahan collects her 2nd strikeout. Farraker help her out defensively. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. It's a 1-0 ball game. Sorry if I'm asking you too many questions. I just like to keep the conversation.
I love it. I love it. It makes
because it's things that pop in my head, and I'm like, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, no. I love it. It really makes me stay fully engaged and not sound so stupid. Honestly, you know what I'm thinking about? I was like, what odd question is he going to ask me here?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
LSU is led defensively by Aaliyah Andrews in center, who can cover so much ground.
Just a fantastic play there. A SportsCenter top 10 play by the center fielder, laying all out, giving no regard for her body there. Makes that play, and she's just so good in center field.
Aaliyah Andrews captains this defense for LSU. We've mentioned all the defensive players for the Tigers, but how about Tidwell at second base, getting some help with Pleasance at short, and this defense has been sharp through 1 inning. Sam Sack goes after the first pitch to start this bottom of the 2nd. Now here's where the power comes for NC State. Sack with 7 home runs. Farraker has 13 of her own. And while the Wolfpack do live by the long ball, these two are huge threats in this part of the order.
And like we talked about, NC State shuffling their lineup a little bit. Sam Sack has benefited moving into that 4 slot. You know, trying to keep the bats alternating. You got Rizzy a righty, then you got Russ a lefty, Morris a righty, Sack a lefty. Always trying to keep pitchers off balance. It's not just fouling off pitches. It's throwing different bodies up there, either from the left or right side.
That's the chess game that Jennifer Patrick Swift goes through against 15th ranked LSU. Sinceri nearly needed just 3 pitches. That was called outside. Sinceri had a tough outing against Missouri this past weekend, gave up 6 runs in 2 innings. But her partner in crime, Allie Kilponen, stepped up with 13 huge innings. And Coach Beth Torina loves how those two complement each other.
Well, they really are a two-headed monster in the circle. Yeah, I mean, Sinceri didn't have one of her best outings, gave up multiple runs only in those 2 innings of work. But what Sinceri and Kilponen provide in the circle for LSU, you see why they're a top 25 program. They just find a way to give their offense the opportunities to put more runs up, and they're going to throw up zeros. That's one thing they both do very well.
Sack went around on the swing. First punch out for Shelby Sinceri, putting down Sam Sack.
And that's big in more than one, in a few ways more than one, because she's able to get that strikeout. Because Randy Farraker, the ACC home run leader, is aboard, and the last thing you want to do is put a runner on and then have Farraker come up, because the way she swings it, the way the ball flies off her bat, NC State could easily find themselves ahead by a run.
That's the 59th strikeout for Sinceri, who challenges Farraker with the heat. And you pay for the price of admission watching these two get after it. Farraker, the home run leader in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Sinceri, the hardest thrower of this staff for LSU. This is mano-a-mano.
Well, I can't sit here and say for sure because I don't have a radar gun out there.
Nice stop at third by Doyle. And LSU's defense has been sharp. We asked Beth Torina, what is it like playing a good team in a different conference like the ACC? And she said, it's the exact same as every weekend. We have 8 top 50 programs in the SEC right now, and we want to make the most out of every single drill to get this team ready for whatever opponent is next.
And you love hearing that from the LSU coach. She's not taking NC State different because they're in the ACC. This is another quality opponent, like she said. This is an opportunity for her Tigers to go out there and show that they are a better team.
You know what she said? Are we playing 100% of the balls off the bat in practice? Are we taking every drill 100%? That's a pretty honorable thing to carry week in to week out.
It is, and I think that starts from the top. You know, Coach Torina, we know what she did, you know, down in Gainesville for the Gators when she was a college player, and now over here growing this LSU program. She was a force back then, and she expects quality work every day.
That's Tati Forbes fouling it off. We mentioned tough hitters to retire. Well, Tatiana Forbes is climbing the national ranks. This is incredible, her ability to get on base. Has hit leadoff most of the year, but sliding down into the 6th spot today. Looking to elongate this lineup for Jennifer Patrick Swift. Doyle's tested at third, and LSU is up to the task through 2 innings of play. We have a 1-0 ball game with the Tigers coming up next when we return here in Raleigh. Man, that defense is fun to watch.
It is.
Oh, nice.
It's Doug, right?
Doug. The LSU softball program received some heartbreaking news this morning. Maribeth Gorsuch, one of the pitchers on this staff, a senior, her father unfortunately passed Doug early this morning. You see Maribeth's jersey. She flew home to visit with her family and spend some quality time at home. But you love what the Tigers are doing here, honoring Maribeth and her father who just passed.
It really is a tough situation. Our thoughts are with Maribeth and her family. But you see her team, rallying behind her with her jersey this weekend. Just a great move from LSU for one of their own.
You see those DG stickers to honor Doug, who was a huge fan of this program. His daughter was a senior pitcher who had 72 appearances in her career, and she'll be back soon. But wishing all the best for the Gorsuch family back home in Texas watching this tonight. So much to process through all of this as Danica Coffey leads off the top of the third and works the county. Tigers with one run on the first. Sierra Briggs with a solo home run. That's been the difference. This bunt goes foul, and the count is 1-2.
And we talk about Doyle over there at third base. You saw as Coffey tried to lay down that bunt, Logan Morris was already there. She's one of the most aggressive third basemen that I've gotten the privilege of watching. She, on those slappers, she is almost halfway down the third base land on a consistent basis.
Trahan on 1-2. That works the count even to Danica Coffey as the DP tonight. Coffey has an infectious energy that Coach Beth Torina says is more fun than any player on this team. Just enjoys watching her play the game of softball. Coffey flies it out. Here's Angie Rizzi, player of the week in the conference, making the catch.
And the captain out there in center field, the ball ended up pretty much in Sam Russ territory over there in left, but right off the bat you saw Rizzi saying they're mine, 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 or I got it. Just calling everyone off, say stay away, this one's mine, I got it. And that's what the senior does in center field. She leads, she delegates, and batting at the top of the lineup there, she's just a spark for NC State.
Here's Aaliyah Andrews in the top of the LSU lineup, taking inside for ball one. That strikeout for Andrews, very rare, just her 14th of the season in over 200 at-bats. And Aaliyah's coming off a 7-for-12 weekend in the series win at Missouri.
And she saw enough pitches in her first at-bat to constitute an entire game's worth of at-bat pitches. So, she's someone that's going to work the count, and she's so fast, Evan. And she's just a terror if she finds her way on the base pass, and she does more times than not with that 365 average.
The senior from Oldsmar, Florida, battling Abby Trahan, the veteran herself out of Louisiana, who misses high for ball three. And when Andrews gets on base, and this is true for the entire LSU offense, they're 49 of 50 stealing bases. That's an incredible number this late in the season.
Well, Coach Torina said she had to go back and fact check that and look and see, oh my goodness, we really have only been thrown out one time this season.
That speed all starts with Andrews, who's got 22 stolen bases herself. Aaliyah and her sister AJ, a combined 230 steals. That's a prolific, almost 8-9 year period for the LSU program.
Yeah, speed in the family. There's no doubt about that. Over 200 stolen bags. Just ridiculous numbers from the Andrews sisters.
Sack hangs on to work the count full 3-2. As LSU, their first matchup here at NC State. Just the third ever meeting between these programs. Trahan, that is in play. Sack with the throw to first, that's in time.
The athleticism there by Sam Sack on that ball that just rolled into fair territory. And she had to move because we talked about the speed from Aaliyah Andrews. She nearly beats that out, but Sack with the arm behind home plate showing it off. And that's a big out for NC State, getting Andrews off the base paths.
The awareness as well to see that ball land fair, because if it hits the plate, if it hits the batter's foot, it's a foul ball. It's a smart play by Sack. That pitch misses up to Sierra Briggs, who broke this game open with a home run. Briggs, not only a great extra base hitter, hits in 7 of her last 8. Now she takes ball 2.
And Trahan in this NC State pitching staff rightfully being respectful of Briggs after she hit that, took that pitch and sent it over that right center field wall in her first at bat. At the same time, you don't want it to fall too far behind.
All of a sudden, it's 3-0 as Trahan works behind an account. She's issued 2 strikeouts and a walk against this LSU offense. That comes in 43rd in the country in home runs per game. Everyone's chasing Oklahoma. By the way, the Sooners hit 3 home runs a night. Just redonkulous numbers with LSU and NC State, both good power hitting teams, as that's ball 4.
And NC State clearly trying to stay away from Briggs right there. All 4 pitches really on the outer half of the plate, trying to get her to chase a little bit, but Briggs was able to show off some plate discipline there and let that 4-pitch walk come to her.
So Jennifer Patrick Swift in her 3rd year building so much in such a short period of time. 50-plus wins for the Wolfpack, and I'm trying to talk through her pitcher, Abby Trahan, who she brought over a year later from St. Francis, went to Southern Miss, came to NC State, and she was telling us this week she's pitched a 1-run game against Arizona in a regional, has the confidence to pitch against big teams. She's not afraid of this matchup.
No, not at all. And this is something that the senior strives for. This is what she lives, to throw against the best competition out there. And LSU undoubtedly is one of those teams. And you've seen the one blemish on the scoreboard right now is the Briggs home run.
NC State getting action ready just in case.
Yeah, it looked like that was Sydney Nestor getting loose, the sophomore right-hander for the Wolfpack.
Taylor Pleasance with a runner on the move, but goes back to first. And boy, the speed of LSU. Even Sierra Briggs on a fake steal, causing so much distraction.
Well, you heard right there, everyone yelling runner. And Sam Sack was ready to go, but ended up holding it.
Now the 0-1 pitch from Trahan. That is called strike 1. Definitely got to keep an eye on Briggs. She's 8 for 8 in steals. She's ready to rock and roll at first base. Now on the move. The throw from Sack is a good one, but out of the mitt of Farricker.
Fantastic throw there by the NC State catcher, Sam Sack. Right on the money, too. But you talk about LSU and their ability to steal bases as Briggs slides in safely. And I have to say, Evan, if Farricker's able to hold on to that one, we're talking about the second LSU runner being thrown out this season.
And that goes back to the month of February, the last time LSU's been caught trying to steal. Pleasance fights off the 1 and 2. So with that stolen base, the Tigers are now 50 of 51, the highest stolen base percentage in the country. But in the conference, just 4th, Tennessee with the most stolen bases in the SEC. Trahan challenges again and misses outside. Beth Torina told us, however, she wants that number to be at least 90, maybe 85%. If you're going to steal, you have to do it at a high rate to make it worth it.
And LSU clearly is doing that. Only one time being thrown out this season. If you're going to do it, be successful at it, and LSU clearly is.
As that ball goes out of play, we saw Briggs on the move on the pitch. Cousins walked her first time up, and she is working the pitch count here of Abby Trahan in the 3rd inning. Abby on 2 and 2. Good stop by Sack to work the count full.
That's interesting, the confidence that LSU has right there. You got a left-handed at bat, runner at second trying to steal third. There's nothing blocking Sam Sack from being able to make a strong throw down to Logan Morris at third, but when a team steals at such a high clip and such a success rate that LSU does, you kind of just throw it out there and just say, well, if they're running, they feel like they can make it.
Pleasant sends one into the air and right. It's a good catch by Tati Forbes to end the top of the third. The Wolfpack searching for its first run of the night. They come to the plate when we return here on ACC Network Extra. That's like the one ball where it's nice to have the all 9 cam. It's like, oh, wait, no, she's got
Yep.
I just still couldn't imagine being in that situation.
Not the slightest bit.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so 2 years and then 4 years. Okay. Doing some math in my head.
Yeah, I was trying to do that in my head too. I didn't think they hit 75.
So it averaged like 30 a year, basically.
I didn't even think they hit that many.
Jennifer Patrick Swift has brought a home run mentality to this offense. Here over the last 4 years, Brantley, 155 home runs. But how about this? 48 home runs at this ballpark here in 2021.
Well, NC State has really embodied that home run mindset, and they were on a tear last year before the season ended to COVID, so those numbers would be even higher. But, you know, they lead the ACC in home runs this year, and they have the home run queen in Randy Farricker right now.
Coming off a weekend against NCA&T to start the month with 5 home runs in a single game on April 3rd. So this offense can explode. And now it's Madeline Curtis, the DP, to kickstart the bottom of the third.
And the funny thing about those 5 home runs, Evan, they came from 2 players, Farricker and Sack. Farricker had 3, Sack had 2.
Curtis has been a nice story being inserted into the lineup at the start of April. Coming off a 2-run RBI performance against Pitt over the weekend. Shelby Sinceri makes quick work of out number 1.
Regardless of the strikeout, Madeline Curtis has really done a good job in this NC State lineup as she just swings and misses on that pitch on the outer half. Great job there by Sinceri painting that outside corner. But, you know, anyone who has watched NC State this season has known that that bottom third of the lineup has struggled. It's been kind of a little bit of a revolving door. Madeline Curtis and Libby Whitaker have done a good job.
Watch out, Whitaker rips one to left. And there's Briggs all over it. A home run and the double saving catch by Briggs. Busy day.
Just an all-around athlete right there. You know, the big fly, and then that was a rocket off the bat of Libby Whitaker, and you know, finishing that point. Whitaker and Curtis have really brought some energy to the bottom part of this lineup over the last couple games, getting those all-important, consistent at-bats.
April Visser hits 9th, and she pops the first pitch foul. You mentioned that rotating door in the 9 spot. Visser in her 3rd straight game in this spot. She's only played 6 games out of the 9 hole. Usually Lambrecht is a huge piece out of the 9 spot, and Coach Patrick Swift mixing it up tonight. It's neat here in non-conference play as well. You do want quality wins for both these clubs, but it is a chance to see what your team is made of with conference play getting ready next weekend.
Oh, it's always a great time to go out of conference, try to work on some things, but to go out of conference in this way.
Almost a catch from Callan at the top of the fence there.
I mean, but to go out of conference, you know, normally you play, you know, like a mid-major D1 or something like that. This is an ACC SEC matchup. I mean, we're talking about the LSU Tigers coming to Raleigh for a 3-game series. These teams not shying away from playing tough competition out of the conference.
This is an LSU team with the toughest strength of schedule in the country right this very night. And it's 2-2 to Visser.
And that's something Coach Torina said in our phone call with her. We, coming into this weekend, we have the toughest strength of schedule. And that's no surprise. I mean, you look up and down, they're consistently playing top-tier teams. Almost
20 games against top 25 opponents. That is incredible. On 1-2, Sunseri is up to the challenge. 2 punch-outs here in the third, giving her 3 on the evening. Through 3 innings, it's LSU up by 1 here in Game 1 of the series. That's not like her night is done, Dance, right?
No.
Okay.
It better not be done. Interesting. Yeah. I would not have noticed that. Six of the 10 SEC.
Well, regardless of what Beth says, she didn't need to be on a phone call because she seems like she's looking great out there. Looks confident. Probably going to keep that jacket on all night, even if it's 100 degrees. Entering the weekend, you look at the top 10 strength of schedule in the country. 6 SEC teams, including Beth Torina's LSU club. They've played 19 games against top 25 opponents.
Yeah, that's more than half of their schedule has been top-ranked teams in the country. LSU not shying away from playing the best of the best. And you see her right there talking about the SEC, 6 out of 10. Just ridiculous that all those Southeastern Conference teams are in the top 10 with LSU at the top.
LSU in the standings sits 5th overall. Everyone's chasing Arkansas right now, the darlings of the SEC. And Georgia Clark, who's had her fair share of experience as a 4th-year senior, leads off this top of the 4th. Abby Trahan falls behind 2-0. To Abby's credit, Brantley, after giving up the home run to the second batter of this ball game, she's given up just 1 hit.
And that's what a senior does. They give up the home run, but they instantly focus back in there to try to keep their team in the ball game. And it's just the 1-run difference right now.
That's a great frame by Sam Sack to deliver strike 1.
And Georgia Clark must have been looking for something off speed there because 2-0 pitch middle of the plate, really chest high. That's kind of the ballpark range.
Clark swings on the 2-1 and drops it in for a hit. Forbes challenging her to first, and Clark showing off the wheels. Tati Forbes, I tell you what, she's keeping these players honest on that fly ball to right.
And I'm really surprised that ball fell in play. I've talked to you about this many times, Evan. I think NC State has one of the fastest outfields around, and to see a ball fall to the ground safely is a little bit of a jaw dropper because of how fast Forbes, Rizzi, and Russ are.
The 6th-year senior patrolling the outfield from Barrington, New Jersey. As the home run hitter from earlier tonight. Briggs able to score the first run now. Raylene Gutierrez trying to pick up after that infield single as we have a special pitch runner coming in for LSU. So the Tigers go with Savannah Stewart in to run. Marietta, Georgia product. It's got to be nice for Beth Torina to bring in a 2019 freshman all-conference performance, Savannah Stewart, off the bench to bring in more speed.
Just shows the quality of depth that is in the LSU dugout. You're bringing in some talented players as pinch runners, not even, you know, pinch hit or even to play. That just shows you how solid the 9 that you see or the 10 that you see out there, including the Coffee, the DP, are for this Tiger squad.
Gutierrez pops up the 1-0 out of play. Raylene's been an instant impact performer as a freshman. Went 2 for 8 in the Missouri series. But is hitting .310 in SEC play. That is no small task for a freshman in her first full season. Runner is off for second. And gunned down with the tag. What a throw by Sam Sack.
You know, Sack should be 2 for 2 today on runners thrown out. As that ball earlier in the game got away a little bit, but you just see the transfer there, and a heck of a job from April Visser playing it on the hop. But Sam Sack, you know, there's a little chip on her shoulder for the catcher. You know, teams have tried, catchers have tried, but, you know, only one has been successful. And Sam Sack says, it's my turn to show these LSU runners that they can't run on me.
LSU now 50 of 52 in stolen bases. They had the best percentage in all of NCAA softball. That's not something you see every night. So this flips the whole inning. 1 out and a 2-2 count to Gutierrez. Trahan forces a pop-up. You guessed it, Visser is all over it. 2 big plays by the NC State second baseman.
And Visser, you know, obviously she doesn't want to come out of the ball game, but you can see right there why she's in for NC State. She's so good defensively. You know, came in as a shortstop, has moved over to second base. But talking about Sam Sack earlier, she knows the numbers. She knows that LSU's only been thrown out 1 time. So this whole week has been talking about if one of these runners gets on base, I'm nailing them this time. They're not going to be safe.
The last time LSU had been caught stealing, February 23rd against Central Arkansas. That's a large stretch of games without having any runners caught on the bases.
It really is, and it's just a testament to these LSU runners. Speed is one thing, but running savvy is another thing, and it just seems like all the runners for LSU just have that moxie, that savvy on the base pass. They know how to time up their runs to make sure that they're safe.
Here's Jordan Perkins, her 6th at-bat of the season, the sophomore from just outside New Orleans.
I was thinking you were going to say California again.
You wouldn't be too far off with this roster for LSU. 8 from Texas, 8 from the home state of Louisiana, and 6 from the Golden State of California. I will admit some slight bias. I am born and raised in Los Angeles.
So 7 a part of tonight's contest from California.
Trahan on 1-0. Delivers strike 1. Now that play from April Visser not only changes this inning, but changes how deep and how successful Abby Trahan can be tonight.
Oh, I think it's a huge play. Pitch count is something you kind of pay attention to, but these girls, you know, they can throw 130, 140 pitches and still be okay. So that's not something you necessarily pay attention to, seeing 79 pitches in the 4th inning. But what that does is you're not giving extra outs. You know, an error or a walk or something like that. You're just not giving away extra outs away. And so that's why that play on the stolen base and the pop-up are so big for NC State.
Trahan on 2-2. Makes quick work of the pitch hitter Perkins to end the inning. Abby Trahan, 3 straight innings scoreless as we go to the bottom of the 4th. It's a pitcher's duel here in Raleigh.
I didn't realize State's 5th in the conference now.
No one's getting
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I guess that helps when you sweep a team.
Well, I mean, when you have to play that team, and that team next.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot.
Well, you really are. She's not wrong. She's going to find out what team they are this month.
I mean, to only be caught twice on the bases, though, all season.
That's ridiculous.
And the first time since what, the end of February?
Yeah. I mean,
that's nuts. And it's not like they don't steal. I mean, 50 attempts is plenty.
I mean, you look at State.
Yep. We'll mention that Notre Dame Virginia game because those are two bubble teams.
Mm-hmm.
So Sunseri warms up without the face shield, and then she puts it on when she pitches. That seems counterintuitive.
Nestor does the same thing.
Huh. It's a busy weekend in the ACC. Some weather holding off that Syracuse series. But how about Notre Dame, Virginia, two teams right on the bubble. And Notre Dame at 9-10 in the conference, leading early over the Hoos in the third inning.
Yeah, every series is important throughout the season. But as the season starts to wind down, you know, ACC moving to 4-game series this season, you know, a 3-1 series victory, that's huge. You got to try to find a way to win series.
Because right now you could say there's 4 locks out of this conference. Florida State, Clemson, Virginia Tech, and Duke. Whether a 5th or 6th team gets in is all up to how these teams perform in the final month of the season.
I think you're 100% correct. Florida State, Clemson, VT, and Duke are definitely playing after the ACC tournament ends. Then you got those bubble teams, the NC States, the Syracuse, Notre Dames, North Carolinas, all those teams. And as the season winds down, the hotter team is going to find themselves into the NCAA tournament.
Angie Rizzi pokes foul the 1-0. And that's what excited Jennifer Patrick Swift. Her schedule coming up is the top 3 teams in the league remaining. So if you can win these games if you're NC State, you put yourself back in that conversation.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And you know, she mentioned about the RPI. It's going to go up tremendously for her NC State Wolfpack.
Rizzi rolls one to third, and Doyle has been a garbage machine over there at third, scooping everything up and dumping off another ground ball out. We mentioned the NC State schedule. Of course, Furman in the midweek's coming up, but Clemson, Duke, and Florida State, the 3 teams above them in the standings. What a great opportunity for NC State this next month.
I absolutely agree. And Jennifer Patrick Swift said at the beginning of the season, when she saw that they were ranked preseason 8 in the ACC, that lit a fire in her team. She goes, we are way better than the 8th team in the conference, and we're going to go out this season. We're going to prove it.
This is the second time around the lineup for NC State, and Shelby Sunseri has had no trouble retiring these batters so far. A Wolfpack offense that have won 7 straight, averaging 10 runs a game up to this point. What has made life so tough against Shelby Sunseri?
Well, I think you talked about it, how fast she throws the ball.
And the defense is certainly a part of it as well.
I mean, it's all around. The entire infield has had fantastic plays. Doyle, Pleasance, and then you get to the right side. They're just great defenders. And then you talk about getting Russ and Rizzi out. That's huge for LSU. But Sunseri's been able to hit her spots. That's the key. If you can find a way to hit your spots, you're going to be successful, especially as how hard she throws the ball.
Hasn't been the strikeout totals for Sunseri, but her defense, you mentioned it, with Gutierrez making that last play. It's been special. Here's Logan Morris with 2 gone by in the 4th.
You can't forget Tidwell and Gutierrez on the right side of that infield. Just great.
There's the first hit of the night for NC State as Logan Morris deposits a 2-out single.
And Morris wasting no time there. First pitch swinging, gets one on the inner half of the plate. Just able to get it out to the outfield for the first NC State hit of the ballgame.
Now some life for the Wolfpack in this lineup. Morris trying to translate that conference play numbers, hitting .360 in ACC play here against a potent LSU pitching staff. Now the batter is Sam Sack with 2 gone by. Able to hold up on that one for ball 1. That strikeout for Sack in the second, one of 3 punch outs for Shelby Sunseri. who enters this game with a minuscule 2.2 ERA. Tidwell, that will be interference on the runner to end the inning. Well, another feature of LSU's defense, awareness, as Logan Morris runs into Tidwell. Through 4 innings of play, the Tigers are pitching it well and lead 1-0 here in game 1 of the series.
Can you hear that?
Touchdown, Clemson! 67 yards, Trevor Lawrence.
Next chapter.
Well, I'm a 49ers fan, so this will be great. Who are we going to Fields? Mac Jones? I don't know. Somebody. Oh,
I think everyone.
It's got to be the BYU guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hear the Niners they're saying that they're just in love with Mac Jones.
This is the old like high school prom thing. Who's saying what and when are they saying it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The lying period, as they like to call it. Oh, we're locked in at 2. We're happy with where we are at 2. Or no, we might trade. I don't know.
The 2021 NFL Draft is less than 3 weeks away. Tune in as the college football stars of today hear their names to be called as the newest members of the NFL. Catch the action from Cleveland starting April 29th at 8 p.m. on ESPN and ABC. Well, Brantley, our producer, Matt Curry, he is a New York Jets fan. I think they're leaning Zach Wilson to start this draft at number 2.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that Zach Wilson, coming out of BYU, finds himself in the Big Apple.
Who's the next Joe Burrow, however? Is Trevor Lawrence that number 1 pick to follow in the LSU footsteps?
I mean, he's been anointed the number 1 pick since he was in high school. I mean, the guy just, all he did was win down in Clemson.
Shelby Sinceri skies one out of play. You do see fans in the crowd. That is NC State parents and staff allowed in the ballpark. As Sinceri's been great in the circle. 4 innings of 1 hit ball. Now trying to help herself at the plate. The 0-2 is skied into the air. Angie Rizzi patrol center.
Well, it was worth noting, you know, she was great. She was perfect until the Logan Morris single. That just shows how good she's been in the circle for LSU.
Sinceri in her career, 19 complete games and 7 shutouts in the circle, 26-14 record. Taking on an NC State offense that had averaged 10 runs a game in the month of April. They've been as hot as any team in the ACC. As here's a bunt in play by Tidwell. The speed is gunned down by Sam Sack.
That's the second time today Sack has showed the athleticism behind the plate on Andrews and now Tidwell. Just the bounce right there. A lot easier because Tidwell was trying to lay down the bunt. But you see right there, just a fantastic job by Sack. First step in front and firing over there to Libby Whitaker.
2 gone by here in the 5th for Danica Coffey, who takes ball 1. Coffey, the DP, such a huge piece in this lineup. That second leadoff hitter, according to Coach Beth Torina. And takes ball 2.
And that's what you want. Your 9-hole hitter to essentially be your second leadoff batter. And Coffee has been a fantastic addition to the LSU lineup in that 9 spot for trying to turn it over there to Andrews and Briggs and Pleasance.
Trahan falls behind 3-0 for a rare time in this game. Last time since the first inning when she walked Pleasance. Danica Coffey trying to extend this 5th inning. And she does with a 4-pitch walk. Turning it back to the top of the order where Aaliyah Andrews and crew can get rolling.
You see Trahan smiling there. This is just a great experience getting to pitch for NC State. You know, her last year in college, facing, you know, the hometown college team at LSU. Just happy to be out there and, quite frankly, throwing a quality game for NC State.
Trahan grew up in Kaplan, Louisiana. Nearly jamming Andrews inside for ball 1.
That's now 5 consecutive balls by Trahan. A little bit erratic here in the top of the 5th, but she's got 2 outs. Just find a way to get back into it. You see Sack and the pitching coach, Chelsea Wilkinson, out to talk to the right-hander.
Earlier in this game, we saw Sydney Nestor warming up, and then Trahan responded, retiring 5 in a row. And now you see the bullpen continuing to get loose for the Wolfpack. You do wonder now with this 3rd time around the order as this modern game starts to take over, how quickly will Wilkinson and Jennifer Patrick Swift be willing to go to the bullpen?
Well, with 2 outs here, obviously you'd love for Trahan to get out of the inning, but it never hurts to have somebody getting loose. You know, other than the walk, the walk to start with 2 outs with Coffee and the Sierra Briggs home run, Trahan's really been, I would say, not say unhittable, but she's got soft outs. So she's just got to find a way to dial it back in here a little bit, get out of the inning, and give her team the opportunity to try to tie or take the lead.
That is call ball 2, just a bit outside to Aaliyah Andrews. We saw the SportsCenter top 10 catch from last weekend against Missouri. Andrews is great defensively and even tougher to get out on offense, hitting .300 in conference play. On cue, pokes one to short. Farraker with the bullet to first and the top of the 5th. Both teams showing the leather through 4.5 innings. Let's see if the offenses can respond here when we return. Thanks for the help with the hair difference between Jen and Chelsea. They look very similar.
Yeah, they do. They do. That's the hard thing about the mask, man. It's hard to tell who is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. What a beautiful night in Raleigh here at Dale Softball Stadium. Evan Budrovich and Brantley Hatridge with you for Game 1 of this 3-game set. Just the 3rd all-time meeting between LSU and NC State. And so far the difference, a leadoff home run in the 1st inning. Sierra Briggs with a solo shot. That's been all the offense today. Randy Farricker attacks the first pitch and right at Pleasance for out number 1.
Little shortstop to shortstop action there.
Did you see the worm she just
Yeah.
pulled off too? I mean, not only defense, but the coordination with her infield. Very impressive from Taylor Pleasance.
And we saw a lot of quirky things from from LSU prior to this ball game, and just seeing Pleasance doing the worm right there, not really surprising.
That ball is foul off the bat of Tati Forbes. Forbes, a ground ball victim to Doyle back in her first at-bat in the second. NC State has just 1 hit tonight against Shelby Sinceri, and that came in the 4th. Sinceri on 0-1. Misses inside. And how about Shelby tonight, Brantley? Not only the 3 strikeouts, has had just 1 3-ball count. Really attacked these hitters.
Well, she has, and that's why you look at the pitch count difference. It's just astronomical. Sinceri at 40 pitches, and Abby Trahan is flirting with 90 already. Just shows the efficiency that Sinceri has used in the circle, and she hasn't really had a whole lot of hard outs other than the Libby Whitaker line out to left field, her first at bat, and then the Logan Morris base hit. They've been soft outs.
That is tipped foul. No, a swing and a miss, in fact. So reaching on the strikeout wild pitch is Tati Forbes.
Maybe this will be the spark for NC State, getting one of their faster runners on base. Doesn't matter how it happens. That drop third strike, hit by pitch, walk. The fact of the matter is NC State has a runner aboard now with less than 2
so
outs.
Forbes clearly missed that ball, and she knew it right away. Seemed like Callum was a bit late making that decision over to first.
I think that's just a senior knowing that if it ends up being called a foul tip, she's just going to trot back to the plate. So go ahead and run it out, see what happens. The worst thing you're going to do is, like I said, come on back, you foul tip that one.
Here's the home plate umpire, Donald Brown. As NC State makes a change at the plate here, Kaylee Lambrecht will come into pitch hit for the Wolfpack. Freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, to check in. And that might be what it takes from NC State in this game. They've had just 1 hit and 2 runners reach base, so bring in a pitch hitter and I imagine some small ball from the Wolfpack. Lambrecht right after the first pitch.
You know, I would agree with that, but if they're bringing in a pitch hitter here, more than likely they're not going to try to lay down a sacrifice bunt. They're bringing in Kaylee Lambrecht to do one thing, and that's to hit a home run. Which, I mean, this is what you expect out of all these NC State players, as Lambrecht does have one on the season.
One of the 54 for the Wolfpack this year. What a pitch by Sinceri for strike 2.
Just painting the inner half of the plate there. Lambrecht gave up on that one.
Shelby last season in that shortened year, a 6-0 record with a 1.2 ERA. She is pitching like the 2020 version tonight. Runner is off for second, and Tati Forbes easily takes second base. Now the tying run in scoring position.
And you talked about the limited runners that NC State has had. First runner to reach second base, and who better than to get to second base than Tati Forbes? Something into the outfield. You know, Patrick Swift over there at third, he's going to be giving her the green light to try to score and tie this ball game.
High fly ball to left. This is just missed, almost caught by Briggs. And now with the new replacement, Stewart in left. And I think the wall might have turfed her own shoe.
Stewart going for her own Sports Center top play right there. She almost made that, leaping over the wall down the left field line.
Another 1-2 is called strike 3. Sinceri with her 4th punch out of the night.
And that's the second punch out that has been a check swing strike 3. As you see Sinceri get in under the hands of Lambrecht. She got Sam Sack in her first plate appearance on a check swing, and she gets Kelly Lambrecht there now. So very indecisive are these NC State hitters, and can't blame them today. Shelby Sinceri is locked in.
Libby Whitaker goes around on strike one, and that's a great point by our crew. 5 strikeouts, in fact, for Sinceri with that punch out of Forbes to start the inning.
Yeah, you forget about that because she reaches base, but it does go down as a strikeout. And, you take the strikeout however you can get.
Whitaker trying to cash in the speedy Forbes from second. Sinceri has allowed just 1 hit tonight, trying to keep NC State scoreless. That's 1 and 2.
Yeah, what I was saying just a minute ago about the indecisiveness of NC State, the 2 strikes on Libby Whitaker have both been called check swing strikes, so very difficult for her to try to do it. And you see why there, the sun and the shade there going from light to dark.
Did she go around? Yes, she did. 6 strikeouts for Sinceri as she punches out the side to end the 5th. LSU riding a 1-0 lead through 5 here in Game 1.
Yep. I think I know why the game got moved to 5 now. Look at that shadow.
That's tough to hit. I mean,
you got to give yourself the advantage however you can, right?
You just start guessing fastball, I think, and
you
swing for it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Trahan is, she is clearly dialed in today. Sinceri, obviously the velocity is there. That's the difference for her and Trahan. But Trahan is definitely benefiting from that shadow.
Sierra Briggs with the lone statement of this series thus far tonight. All the way back in the 1st inning, a home run off Abby Trahan to put the Tigers out in front.
Yeah, it was a pitch that was supposed to be on the inner half of the plate that just caught a little bit too much, and Sierra Briggs depositing that one for her 3rd of the season, and as you mentioned, the difference in the ball game.
Look at the shadow contrast for the hitters at the plate. So tough against Trahan, who misses outside. Briggs said, I'm going to take advantage early. Hit her 3rd home run and her 1st big fly since the opening weekend of the season. Trahan's 1-0 is swung on and missed.
You're right. She got that home run in before the shadow has settled in between the pitcher's circle and home plate. Both of these pitchers, Sinceri and Trahan, are clearly having their A game right now. But this shadow is making it that much harder for both of these offensive teams to find a way to get base hits.
Trahan wanted that strike. It's 2-1. She now hits 93 pitches, taking on the freshman Sierra Briggs from Yorba Linda. Her high school program, Orange Lutheran, in the CIF Southern section, won a state title 2 years ago as a high school senior. She knows success. Now puts down a bunt. Testing 3rd. Morris. That is in time for the out, and she's able to call time as well.
I think, Evan, they called Briggs
out of the box. Oh, the batter out of the box. Okay.
Yeah, I was interested to see why the umpire held his hands up, like he was calling time.
Now the rule is if any part of your foot, this is a new adjustment in college softball, is out of the box on contact, you are considered out of the box.
Well, I don't think it would have mattered anyway because Whitaker held on to that one, so it would have been a 5-3 put out. But regardless, it's a big first out with Taylor Pleasance at the plate.
Taylor Pleasance hits out of the 3 spot tonight, the shortstop, who's 0 for 1. She's had some great at-bats, though, garnering 20 pitches in her first 2 plate appearances. Trahan on 1-0. That's a bit high. Pleasance, just a freshman, 4 hits and 5 runs batted in that Missouri series, as LSU handed the Tigers only their 2nd and 3rd home loss of the year. That series has now elevated LSU to conference wins in 4 of their last 5 series, playing as good as softball as any team in the SEC down the stretch.
And that's what you want as the season comes to an end. You want to be playing your best softball towards the end. You get your conference tournaments moving in towards NCAA play.
That is called strike 1. As Donald Brown extends the at-bat to Taylor Pleasance, who has walked in the 1st and popped up to right back in the 3rd. Here's pitch number 100 from Abby Trahan. Strike 2. Trahan coming off a 13 strikeout performance against Pitt, but that barometer has been bumped up a level here with the top 15 LSU Tigers. This fly ball will stay in the park, but just barely. Oh, it's dropped. Tati Forbes lost it, and that goes down as an error to extend the inning.
That's a tough play there. You know, Pleasance realized off the bat that it wasn't going to be a base hit or a home run. You saw the disappointment in the swing, but you see Forbes drifting a little bit, and it just like she closed the glove a little too early.
So how much does the wall play a factor there with Tati Forbes trying to feel the wall and make the catch?
If they were away, I would say it would play a little bit more of a factor, but because this is Forbes' home ballpark, I don't see the wall being that much of a factor. She was definitely trying to feel for it, no doubt about it, but this is her home field. It looks like, honestly, it just looked like she closed the glove too early.
Instead, a runner at second for Georgia Clark at the plate, who takes strike 1. So Georgia Clark with 6 home runs, hit 2 big flies over the weekend against Missouri. And that has one of the 3 hits for the LSU Tigers that came back in the 4th. This ball is out of play. Sam Sack's been so special defensively. You never know if she can climb the fence and make a catch like that.
Yeah, the way she's been behind the plate, I would not be surprised if something like that happened. And that's just only the second, going back to the Forbes there, that's her 2nd of the season. She's been so good defensively. But Abby Trahan is trying to pick her up, saying, I got you.
1-2 to Georgia Clark. Clark is the heart and soul of this team, according to Coach Beth Torina. 80 career games, has a team best .550 on-base percentage. That's hard to do in one weekend, not to mention almost 3 full seasons. As Trahan misses outside. Can LSU take advantage of the rare error from Tati Forbes in right? It's 3-2 to Clark. Trahan sitting on 3 walks and 3 strikeouts, limiting this LSU offense that averages 7 runs a game to just the solo home run by Sierra Briggs in the 1st.
When first base open here, you don't necessarily have to come in.
She goes away. Farricker is tested. And there's the 2nd out. Runner holds at second in Pleasance.
The defense just a little bit shaky here for NC State here in the 6th inning. Talk about the error and then the throw a little bit off the bag over there, but with Libby Whitaker, that outstretched arm, the split there,
I wonder,
able to hold on to it.
Brantley, with these teams so starkly contrast, LSU, a regional program year in and year out, NC State has not made a tournament in 6 years. Does that play a factor at all with two competitive teams battling it out?
I mean, it's definitely in their minds, I would say, but you know, NC State is heightened up right now.
As Gutierrez shoots one into the stars, Whitaker can't make the catch. That'll extend the inning. And the larger point behind that is NC State is playing its toughest stretch of games, the top 3 ACC teams and an LSU ball club tonight. The Tigers have played now 20 games against top 25 foes. This is nothing new for LSU.
No, it isn't. But you talk about NC State, the toughest part of the schedule obviously coming up. And Jennifer Patrick Swift is going to find out what her team is made of. But you can see early on, you know, having LSU come to town, top 15 ranked team, NC State is going blow for blow with these Tigers, and that's encouraging. Obviously, NC State would like to come back and try to win this ball game, but it's a very, very encouraging for this coaching staff to see them with a quality opponent such as LSU here, that they're going neck and neck with them.
So 2 meetings taking place. Chelsea Wilkinson talking to her pitcher, Abby Trahan, and then Patrick Swift discussing with his infield how to figure out this third out after the error by Tati Forbes. Allows Taylor Pleasance to reach. She's on at second with 2 outs. This is the moment that Jennifer Patrick Swift wanted, to see how her team would survive against a good, meaty part of the schedule as Gutierrez smacks foul, strike 2.
She didn't miss that one by much, Evan. It fouled straight back off the fence. Gutierrez is really on it. You know, she's 1 for 2 today, so she has found some success against Abby Trahan. But behind in that count 0-2, you're going to want Trahan and NC State try to expand the zone, see if you can get a swing and a miss.
She expands, forces weak contact, and the Wolfpack survive the error. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's a 1-0 ball game. The lone difference, a solo home run in the leadoff frame. Oh, that was a cute shot of the pitcher kind of consoling her player for dropping the ball. I love high home. It's on top of the fourth there. I didn't want to pile in on that. No, that's great. That's great camera work. Great direction. All around. Let's do it. Goalies over. The Olympics are coming up this summer. The U.S. will never make it, but tonight you can watch Pitt and Clemson. Hey folks, there's a pitch. Speaking of pitch, here's a home run. And it's Pitt and Clemson coming up tomorrow. Ooh, I like that song. It's like Mulan. Who's going to rise above the ashes? Beat the Mongolians.
Love it.
Yep. What an NCAA men's soccer qualifier match we have for you tomorrow night on ACC and the ESPN app. Number 1 Pitt takes on number 4 Clemson at historic Riggs Field. Watch that matchup at 7 o'clock tomorrow night on the ACC network. What a matchup we have here at Dale Softball Stadium. 1-0 LSU in the 6th. As April Visser hitting out of the 9 spot attacks strike 1. So Brantley, LSU just 1 hit tonight against Shelby Sunseri, who bounces back from allowing 6 runs in her last effort. What has Shelby done to throw off this power-hitting Wolfpack line?
But she's hit her spots. That's the biggest key. She's working in and out, high and low. She's gotten the strikeout. She's gotten weak contact. And that's why you see, that's why the difference in the ball game is a 0 for NC State versus the 1 for LSU. Sunseri got the lead early, and she has done everything she can to make sure that LSU stays in front.
This is a huge inning. LSU when leading after 6. They are 16-1. Visser out to center. That is down for a base hit. Leadoff single for the 9-hole hitter, April Visser.
Now it'll be interesting to see how NC State plays this. First time they've had their leadoff batter aboard. Do you sacrifice with Angie Rizzi, or do you let your senior?
That's a tough ask for the reigning player of the week in the conference, who had 8 hits and 2 home runs against Pittsburgh.
I can tell you my opinion, talking to Jennifer Patrick Swift, there's no way Angie Rizzi is bunting here. But I have been wrong many a time before.
Angie Rizzi 0 for 2 tonight, yet her average sits at .411, taking strike 1. NC State searching for any type of offense tonight. That single was just the second hit for the Wolfpack.
And this right here is not a knock against Sam Russ by any means, but Russ had been the leadoff hitter pretty much the entire season. I have to think that if Russ was batting right now, you would likely see the sacrifice, or at least the attempt to bunt the runner over and try to leg out an infield single, because she comes from that left side. But nonetheless, if NC State wants anybody up there to try to drive in a couple runs, it's Angie Rizzi.
Rizzi smokes one to center. Going back, and Andrews can't make the catch. Extra base hit puts runners at second and third to lead off the bottom of the 6th.
And that's why Rizzi was not up there trying to bunt. Arguably the best hitter on this Wolfpack lineup, and you see how excited NC State is right now. They've got runners at second and third with nobody out.
8th double of the season for Rizzi, and she caught Andrews playing in.
A screaming bullet off the bat of the Wolfpack leadoff batter, and Andrews almost is able to make that play.
How about one hit coming into the 6th for NC State? They pick up back-to-back base hits. And now some decisions here for LSU with nobody out. How do you manage this spot?
Well, I think it's tough because you've got Sam Russ, who rarely strikes out for NC State. So do you talk about maybe bringing the infield in? It's later in the ball game, or do you play it straight up? You do have the one-run lead and try to go for the strikeout. Sinceri is able to strike people out, but I don't know. I think there may be a pitching change, Evan.
And a double switch, in fact, with Sinceri also hitting for herself in the lineup. And the new pitcher coming in, Allie Kilponen, looks to shut the door. She was huge in the Missouri series win. Now she tries to clean up what Shelby Sinceri started here through 5 innings. When we come back, Kilponen pitching against NC State here in a 1-run ball game. Man, this is huge. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make everything. Groovy. Jack Parkman swings those shoulders.
Does that little shimmy.
Awesome. Shelby Sinceri comes out of the ballgame after 5+ innings of work. She was dazzling through the first 5. Struggled a bit in the 6th, Brantley, but how about the strikeout numbers? 6 punch-outs for Sinceri tonight.
Yeah, and she did a fantastic job keeping the NC State batters off balance. A lot of pitches away for strikeouts. Then she starts to find her way on the inner half of the plate. Gets a check swing there on Kaylee Lambrecht. And you're right, she was dazzling through the first 5 innings and gives up back-to-back hits here to start the bottom of the 6th, and NC State has something.
Now Sam Russ facing Allie Kilponen with a suicide squeeze. The tag is not made, and the game is tied. Now some confusion by the LSU defense. They want to challenge you. Did April Visser touch the plate? That's the question posed by LSU.
regardless if she touched the plate or not, how about the suicide squeeze there from NC State? You know, they talk about hitting the home runs, and you see right here, it's hard to see from there. I think she touched is the back.
Clearly
of
touched
the plate.
it. The other question would be, did Callan get any bit of viscer going to the plate?
From that angle, it's very hard to see. We probably have to see that angle down the line again.
So the call stands. Runners at second and third on the squeeze bunt by Sam Russ.
Well, let's talk about the fact that you just said second and third. How about the aggressiveness and the wherewithal by Sam Russ to take second base? Because time had not been granted to LSU, at least at this point.
This will be our best angle right here. Oh, I think Visser beat it. What a slide by April Visser, who's been excellent defensively and now scores the tying run.
Talk about the athleticism there by April Visser to be able to jet outside and still be able to get her hand on the back part of the plate to tie this ball game up. And it looks like
Donald Brown and Patrick Swift having a discussion here. Right now the runners are still at second and third, so nothing's changed in that regard just yet.
rarely do you see the coach of the team that just scored the run having the conversation with the home plate umpire.
I believe Donald Brown's going to check our instant replay system here, or at least go over to the head coach and explain. So no challenge, in fact. He's just going to the head coach to explain the situation. Apparently there seems to be an issue with the lack of a safe being called at that play at the plate originally.
I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on. We haven't had an out, or at least indicated yet.
LSU did initially ask, did she touch the plate? We saw on that first replay angle that the hand touched home.
Oh yeah, she definitely touched home plate, so I guess the only reason there could be an argument now is...
The first thing that comes to mind is a runner out of the baseline, but that wasn't called. I haven't seen that yet. We almost need a mic'd up Donald Brown here to get a better understanding of what's taking place.
The way that Jennifer Patrick Swift is arguing right now with Donald Brown, I'm wondering if they may be changing the call at home.
This would be a huge decision. The runner is out at the plate. Ruled outside the runner's line.
That's an interesting decision there to call out the runner's line. But with the catcher on the line, doesn't the runner have the ability to try to jet out and try to avoid the tag?
All of a sudden, this game has changed completely. 1-0 the score. Runners still at second and third, but now it's LSU leading by 1 as Kilponen gets her first out. The pitch is drilled at third, foul into the LSU bullpen. Fielder's choice puts Russ at second, Rizzi at third. Now Kilponen focuses in on Logan Morris.
With first base open, Kilponen can not necessarily dance around Logan Morris, but she can be a little bit more selective in how she pitches the three-hole hitter for the Wolfpack.
Kilponen falls behind 2-1, entering out of the pen for Sunseri. Line drive to center. This ball is gone. NC State jumps in front.
What an at-bat by Logan Morris. The previous play not going NC State's way. Logan Morris said, "Coach, I got you." And she drives a line shot over that center field wall. And don't look now, but NC State on top of LSU.
Her 8th home run of the season, and it just snuck over the fence.
You could feel the momentum starting to swing the way of the Wolfpack with Visser and Rizzi finding a way to get on base to start the inning. But Logan Morris emphatically bringing the momentum into that first base dugout.
NC State, 3 runs on 3 hits in this inning. They had just 2 hits entering the 6th. Sam Sack with a ground ball. Tidwell's all over it for out number 2. Well, that home run mentality for the Wolfpack, adding a 55th home run of the year. You figured on a night like this it would take one swing to change the score.
And you could see it slowly building, Evan. And Abby Trahan, you saw there hugging her catcher, saying, "We got this." You know, obviously we'd like to get more runs talking about the NC State team, but the momentum is completely changed. They now go from having to try to battle back in the bottom of the 7th to 3 outs away from a victory over a top 15 team.
Randy Farraker, who's got all the power in the world, leading the ACC in home runs, awaits the 0-1. Taking strike 2. What a swing of emotions in this inning. NC State 2 hits to start the frame. A controversial play at the plate ruled out. And following that up with a 3-run home run by Logan Morris. Because sometimes, Brantley, that emotion that goes in one direction can deflate a ball club. And how about NC State resilient to strike for the 3-run shot?
It's huge. And you got an upperclassman up there. Doesn't let the previous play that didn't go their way affect her. She just stayed within herself, got a pitch over the middle of the plate, and Kilponen giving up her 6th home run of the season now, a huge one, that 3-run home run.
Kilponen trying to shut the door here in the 6th. And it's still 2-2. Now for LSU in the 7th, the bottom third of the order comes up. The lone run for the Tigers in the first inning on a solo shot by Sierra Briggs.
When you had a feeling this was going to happen at some point, maybe not in the fashion of a 3-run home run, but NC State had only been shut out 3 times this season. You know, they've played 32 games. So 3 times, that's really...
And now 49 home runs at this ballpark. The 2-2 from Kilponen is popped up deep into left. Battling the sun is Briggs to make the catch. NC State jumping out in front on a 3-run home run by Logan Morris. Just enough to get over the wall. And now the Wolfpack 3 outs away from securing a Game 1 victory. Now I'm thinking he may have switched it from out to save. But there was never like a clear explanation of what they actually called.
I mean safe to out, because he immediately on the play, he went safe. And that's what Jennifer was arguing.
Yeah.
She's like, you did this.
Yeah.
But I never saw any of the umpires signal an out at home plate.
No, for sure.
And I thought it was so weird that the play went NC State's way, but yet they're talking to the NC State coaches, which made me think that they were probably going to change it. Wow, what a change in momentum, though. You seen this?
Oh,
Drew.
no. Yeah, we'll lead off with that. Abby Trahan pitching with a 2-run lead here in the 7th, but in the pre-inning warm-up, injured that left ankle. And Brantley, this is tough on that plant foot.
And this isn't the first time that this has happened to Trahan. Earlier in the season, she kind of rolled that ankle a little bit on. It was actually in the game. She's heavily taped. You can see there on that left side. She is heavily taped, trying to battle through this. And this is just the grit from the senior. And Jennifer Patchesfoot out there, not sure if they were going to try to pull Trahan in favor of Nestor, but she said, "I got this."
Yeah, Trahan gave her the "I'm good" sign. After her offense, and Logan Morris, a 3-run go-ahead shot. Now it's LSU down to its final 3 outs. And Perkins, her second at-bat here in this spot. Strike 1.
Yeah, at this point, Trahan's pitching on adrenaline and excitement. You know, her team just gave her the lead. There's no way that she was going to be coming out of this ball game.
LSU 0-8 when trailing after 6. 0-2. Momentum has definitely shifted in this ball game as Logan Morris delivers her 8th home run of the year.
I know we don't have a radar gun down there, but that last pitch from Trahan looked like it had a little bit of extra steam on it.
Perkins down on 3 pitches.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night from Abby Trahan. You see Sam Sack pointing to her pitcher saying, "You got this. 2 down, or 1 down, 2 to go."
4th strikeout for Trahan, who's searching for her 4th complete game of the season. Sinceri takes strike 1. So after rolling her ankle in the warm-ups, Trahan has pounded the zone with 4 straight strikes. Starting pitcher versus starting pitcher here in the 7th. And it's 1-1.
Well, there's no doubt that Trahan's experiencing some pain in her ankle right now, but what a pitcher has to do in that case is they've got to focus extra hard to try to block out the pain from rolling that ankle. And, you know, saw 3 pitches to Perkins, getting ahead on Sinceri.
2-1 to Sinceri, who does have 6 home runs on the season. These 2 starters were fantastic in the first 5 innings. 1 combined run, but trouble in the 6th for Sinceri out. Kilponen came in, and NC State on a 3-run home run took the lead. Now it's 2-2.
Trahan's found success here in the 7th, elevating pitches. Normally, as the game goes on, you see 117 or so pitches. You would think that the velocity wouldn't be there, but she's found the success, you know, chest level right now, and she's exploiting that against LSU.
Ground ball foul. In fact, Shelby Sinceri started this game off with 3 2/3 of perfect softball to begin her night. Then in the 6th inning, her night began to unfold quickly. 2 straight hits. And this reminds you tomorrow what a huge matchup we have. 5 o'clock right here on ACC Network Extra, a doubleheader to finish out the series. And if it's anything like tonight, we are in for a doozy. 3-2 as Trahan misses outside.
It's a good job there by Sinceri holding off on that 2-2 pitch. Just barely off the plate. Trahan and NC State clearly looking to try to get Sinceri to expand her zone there.
1 gone by in the 7th. Here's the payoff pitch. Popped up. Rizzi calling for it. Drops the softball. A second error for the Wolfpack.
There's no doubt that the sun has been wreaking havoc today. You saw in the last half of the inning the left fielder for LSU.
And Trahan knows she was 1 play away from having 2 outs.
And that brings the tying runner to the plate now.
Remember in the 6th inning, Forbes had a similar play And then Trahan retired 2 in a row. And now a pitch runner for LSU coming in.
So Forbes and now Rizzi committing their second errors of the season. The Forbes error did not come back to haunt NC State. Trahan.
That's Akaya Times at first, by the way. Excellent speed out of Bresley, Louisiana.
And it makes sense that she's over there at first base now. Anything in the gaps, may try to see her score all the way from first.
This is Taylor Tidwell at the plate. Oh, she wanted to tie it right there. We saw in the pregame Tidwell doing some balance beam routines to congratulate her LSU gymnastics program on reaching the national semifinals.
Yeah, using the left field line as like the balance beam. It was fantastic.
Now can Tidwell tilt the direction of this game? Oh my goodness, 0-2. Tidwell has 3 home runs on the season, and I know exactly what's on her mind here on 0-2.
Yeah, number 4 ties the ball game.
Abby Trahan, 4 strikeouts tonight. That pitch is way up.
And you had a feeling NC State and Trahan were going to try to go even higher. They got those first 2 pitches, you know, shoulder height for swinging strikes. Maybe go head high and let's see if we can get swinging strike 3.
Tidwell 0 for 2 tonight. This is out of play. Taylor Tidwell was robbed of a hit by Sam Sack tonight. Has been excellent as the catcher behind the plate for NC State. Now she tries to push along Akaya Times, who's the pitch runner at first. 2-2. If this is game 1, we are in for a great doubleheader tomorrow starting at 5 o'clock.
We really are. Both teams leaving it all out here on Friday night.
1 gone by here in the 7th as the error by Rizzi extends the inning. 3-2 to Tidwell. We mentioned LSU yet to have a come-from-behind win when trailing after 6. They are putting the pressure on Abby Trahan in this final inning. Here's the payoff pitch. Called strike 3. What a huge second out.
What a pitch there by Abby Trahan on that 3-2 pitch. She got ahead 0-2, fell behind 3-2, but gets that called strike 3 on the inner half of the plate. Similar to what she did to Aaliyah Andrews.
I tell you, Sam Sack's been great defensively. That frame job on that pitch may have been her best job of the night. Because if I'm Taylor Tidwell, I think that pitch is inside.
I thought it was a little bit inside too, and you saw the reaction from Tidwell on the strikeout. She couldn't believe that it was strike 3.
Danica Coffey is swinging a miss. The top of the order up next for LSU, who led 1-0 heading into the bottom of the 6th. A 3-run home run by Logan Morris has changed the complexion of this game. Strike 2. Abby Trahan 1 pitch away from taking down number 15 LSU to open up this series. Trahan battles Coffey on 0-2. Ball 1. Angie Rizzi with the drop fly ball extending this game. And now Coffey represents the tying run. That's out of play. LSU does not go down easily at the plate, making life tough for Trahan.
Well, this whole game has been tough for Trahan. And for her to have this opportunity to try to go the distance here, of course this last out's going to be tough for her.
Trahan on 1 and 2. Knocked foul again. Danica Coffey, her head coach, Beth Torina, says, is the hardest player to get out in this lineup. She does not get out, proving it right here with 2 gone by in the 7th. Swung on and missed. Abby Trahan finishes out a complete game, defeating number 15 LSU 3-1 with a comeback complete game victory.
What effort from NC State and Trahan being able to come back and win this ball game. Sinceri was dealing through 5. NC State finally gets across in the 6th, and the Wolfpack take the opening game.
NC State, their first ever win over LSU, dropping the Tigers to 24-14. The big difference, the 3-run shot by Logan Morris, putting NC State out in front in the 6th. For Brantley Hatridge, I'm Evan Budrovich. Thanking you for joining us in Game 1. It was the big fly from NC State putting this game out of reach. We have a dandy of a doubleheader tomorrow to close out this series. But for tonight, the Wolfpack a 3-1 winner in the opening game of the series. We'll see you on Saturday for a doubleheader as NC State takes Game 1 3-1.